Hey, it's your girl Nay coming to you with another episode of As Told by Nay, the podcast. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope that you're doing well. Hope that you're feeling good. Why am I looking so shiny? I don't know, but it's okay because I'm here. Almost didn't do tonight's show, but I decided that it was important that I do. Those of you that have been following along, y'all know I'll be getting in my moods. I'll be like, I ain't doing this. So I'm trying to be on top of myself, like, okay, you committed to this, so make it happen. It's been a week. It's been a day, but I'm here. And with all that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get to it. So again, hope everyone's doing well. Hope you are living your life, you're being your best self, best version of you at all times, and all that good stuff. If I had to give tonight's conversation a title, I would call it Teacher Bay. And we're going to talk about why that is, who that is, what I'm talking about. Name you in these names. Half of the time you come on here and you don't even be talking about what you be naming your show, but it's all good because we're gonna make it make sense. And to have this conversation with me, I'm going to invite my friend on, and we're gonna get into it. Let me get her up here real quick. Hey, sister.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm tired, but I'm good. How are you?
We here. We are here. We are here.
Yes,
And that is what
amen.
is important. That's what's important. So, before we jump into everything that is as told by Nay in this conversation tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself, let the people know who you are, anything you feel they need to know about you going into this conversation.
Okay, so I'm a little shy, camera shy at least. So my name is Dawn Reeves McKinney. I am a part of the public education system, so I'm a high school English teacher. I've been teaching almost 10 years now. I know I don't look like I've been teaching for 10 years, but what else about me? Oh, check out my page, Reeves Resources, as I'm transitioning out of the field of education at some point. We'll save that conversation for another day. And I'm very honored to be on the show to talk about being a teacher bae.
Yes, because you are definitely a teacher, babe. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
All right, so boom, there's that. Before we get into it, and just because I need this. I'm going to grab my little handy dandy um, show helper here, and I'm gonna give the floor to you to let me know what are we toasting to this evening. I'm ready. What are we
Um,
toasting to?
okay, so it's a little cliche, but with everything that's going on, in the news, especially with the presence of Black women, I think we should give a toast to Black girl magic tonight. I just feel like we're thriving. We're constantly thriving, but people are seeing that we're glowing and that we deserve to have a stage. And
Mhm.
you're not going to kick us off the stage this time. We're here.
Period.
Period.
I'm here for that. I'm always down for some good Black girl magic conversation. And we're definitely going to talk a lot about that today because that is really where this conversation stems from. I titled it Teacher Bay because my guest tonight is a teacher, but all walks of the professional whatever. Um, I like to coin it corporate America, but not every career is corporate level, you know.
Right.
So I say that, but I'm saying it loosely. So just don't hold me to just talking about corporate level positions. I'm talking about anything that you're doing in your career as a Black woman. That's what we're talking about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into all of that, excuse me, come again questions. So these are so
That
these
sounds
are
scary.
random questions you did not get to prepare for.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little icebreaker, no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. I feel real greasy. Am I shiny?
I don't think you're shiny,
Okay,
but
it's me. I'm tripping.
I'm shining and profiling over here. But
Listen, today has been a day, and I'm just like, y'all getting this bun until I figure out how to really embrace my natural. Some days it looks very nice, and I'm proud of my bun. Other days it look like this, and it's just.
First of all, you know we're not gonna knock the natural, okay? So I don't care what it's looking like. I don't care what it's looking like. The fact that you showed it and you didn't cover it up, that is gross.
I'm not gonna knock it. It is what it is. This came out in my head. We're gonna talk about that too.
Okay.
All right, bring it back, Nate, because I'm getting off track. Excuse me, come again. Excuse me, come again. Okay, so 4 random questions that you did not get to prepare for. I'm just gonna ask you. It's a little icebreaker. It's okay. Just relax. It's cool. All right. So question number 1.
Mhm.
How do you know, or are there telltale signs that it's time to just kick back, relax? I need to take some self-care. Like, what gives you that inkling? Like, all right, it's time for me to. Whew.
You mean for me specifically?
Yes.
Oh Lord. Okay. So I am the person who like I will start picking at stuff. So if I notice that my nails are chipped, which I do not believe in that. If they chip, I need to get them done. Or if I see that my lashes are looking a little thin, anything that talks about like grooming, because like I take pride in grooming. If I notice that I'm not grooming myself as often as I would like, that's a red flag for me to kind of regroup, because whatever is bothering me is distracting me so much that I'm not able to recognize that I'm falling off.
Okay. That's a good one. That's really a good one. Being very self-aware and insightful, because a lot of people lack that.
Girl, look, that's why these eyebrows is tatted, because when they was growing wild, you could see it. But once I got them tatted, I was, time passes, so I don't notice as much. But when I start seeing that shadow, I'm like, whoa, I need some self-care.
Check into that, because these caterpillars, baby.
Listen, you have the perfect brows to do it, so you just need to just do it.
Somebody else told me that too. Maybe I'll look into it.
Just do it.
All right, cool. So question number 2.
Mm-hmm.
What is one of your fondest memories of college?
Why? Well, why?
Because I like to dig there just a little bit, because that is where I know my sister from.
I know.
She is one of my trio. Shout out to Breezy.
I know, trio for life.
Trio for life.
So I know with the fake hearts. Can you see it? Okay. Fondest memory. I have so many, don't I? That's okay for this conversation. I would say one of my fondest memories was we were getting ready. I think we were getting ready for Big Show. Okay. And we were trying to find a place to practice, and it was cold as heck. And I think it was FSU's garage. Shout out to FSU's garage. And we were freezing, and we had on our, I think it was like a black sweatsuit. Them things was like zipped up all the way to the top. We had the hoodies pulled up. I think we have a picture of us like cuddled up. Like we had like the 3 of us are like wrapped up around each other. And I feel like in that moment, I was like, I made the best decision of being on a dance team with people who loved me, and I loved them, and I found my people. I found my little village. So that's one of my fondest memories. That's appropriate for
right. Shout out to Family Elite Dance Squad. It definitely introduced me to some of my lifelong friends that I love dearly and still spend a lot of time with to this day, including my trio, my beloved trio. I have that picture on Facebook, actually.
You do?
It was cold as hell. In that garage, and I was really like, we still in Florida, because something ain't right.
I was like, first of all, it'd be cold in a garage anyway, and clammy. Why did we do that? But I mean, the show was great, so it was worth it.
That's funny, because them rehearsals, none of those rehearsals are a part of my fond memories.
Really? I love them.
They was a lot. They was a whole lot. All right. So question number 3.
Dang, there's more? Okay.
It's only 4, and we don't got 2 more. It's 2 more.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 3. Or maybe I should.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Let me find another one.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, question number 3. What is something that is like an automatic no go in relationships. Like if this thing happens, I'm out, I'm done, ain't no conversation. Like this is just something that you have deemed as never.
Did you really answer this question?
Tread light, sir.
Okay, so thankfully I am married. So, I mean, he hasn't made any drastic or radical decisions that would steer me away. But I think I have two no-goes. Like, this is it. This is the end. The first one is any form of abuse, like mental, emotional, physical. By the grace of God, I've never been in a physically abusive relationship. But words hurt and you carry them with you. So that's something I just will not tolerate. And I'm sorry, like, shout out to anyone who's able to hold it down as a blended family, because I can't do it. Mm-hmm. I think because my dad wasn't in my life, and it did a number on me. And I think I searched for a lot of things in the wrong places. And I cannot handle doing that to a child. So I love my man, but I can't handle the baby. I'm sorry. Girl, we married. Now we dating, I don't know, maybe. But married? Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not my grandma.
Ain't no stepmama.
I can't do it. I can't. Stepmama. Even though I have a stepdad and he's great, he's amazing. Like, and I really do give shout out to anyone who can handle that. For me, I know I'm selfish. I know that, I don't want to share. So
that's real.
I can't do it.
I feel you. And then question number 4 is the last one. If there's anything that has taught you something, maybe like when you were younger, whether childhood, early adolescence, early adulthood, whatever the case may be, that you feel really shaped who you are as a woman today, something that you learned back then that you are like, no, for real, it's a lot of stuff that I learned, but this thing right here really contributed to who I am today. What would that be?
I would say to embrace my Blackness. You met me at a time where I went to predominantly white schools, or we'll say PWIs, and I was okay knowing that I was the token, right? And then I get around all these like amazing Black people, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm not special, but I'm around amazing people. So we're special. And I think going to FAMU, like, that was what I needed. Shout out to FAMU.
Yes.
Class of 2012. Support Black colleges, shameless plug. I think me making that decision to go to FAM was the life changer for me that helped me become the person who I am today, which leads me to why I became a teacher, is representation. Mm-hmm. My students needed to see me. They needed to see an educated, attractive Black female in the classroom.
Yes. Truly a teacher, Ray. Shout out to you. And I would have to agree. I think making the decision to go to FAM was like the best decision that I have made in my life to date. Like, it really created this person that everybody is so in love with now. Like, this amazing friend, daughter, therapist, all of that shit came from me growing into this person at FAM. Because before that, hot mess. Okay.
I wouldn't say you're a hot mess.
Yeah. I mean, it just was like, it was a lot that came with Nate.
Okay.
And I came into myself to appreciate, like you said, who I was, where I came from, what I represented. It just was a whole different, it just changed my mind for the better. And behind that came strength and just the ability to persevere.
Amen. Say it again.
Persevere. Okay?
That's right. That's right.
Boom. We're going to get right into it. Teacher Bay. So I want to start this right off with a little bit of an explanation, a little bit of a backstory. So I'm I want to have this conversation because it comes up a lot.
Mhm.
There's a lot of professional women that I am friends with, a lot of professional women that I'm around on a daily basis, and it seems to be a common plight. And that common plight is we are shunned or looked down on or it's seen as a bad thing when we are truly unapologetically ourselves at work. Now, I know some people are going to be like, well, you can't be truly unapologetically yourself at work all the time because there are pieces of us that's not supposed to be in the workplace. And I get that. But we're talking about the bare minimum. We're talking about hairstyles. We're talking about clothing. We're talking about the way that we speak. We're talking about the way that we are received. Which those things we really don't have control over, but it is seen as, a negative in so many different lights. So let's start with just the way that we are received wardrobe wise as professional Black women. I want to bring up how they had Miss Sydney Carter all in the news, all on the TVs, all on the social media timelines, talking about the fact that she was not dressing like a basketball coach. And for those of you that don't know who Sydney Carter is, she is a female basketball coach. I want to say for Texas A&M.
Mhm.
And this be dressed, honey. Okay, every time she's courtside with her girls coaching this game, my girl got some pumps. She's wearing dresses. She's wearing skirts. She's wearing badass pantsuits. She is dressed, honey, and looks good in it. And people were saying like, oh, that is not how coaches dress. Now, what I don't understand is, how is a coach supposed to dress? They said she's too curvy to be wearing those kinds of things as a coach, or her representation is supposed to be professional. Now, she wasn't out there in no crop top,
Right.
and a pencil. She wasn't out there with no cut up, nothing. Her body was not exposed. So what is not professional about a pantsuit and pumps or a
Sis,
dress?
she was fully clothed, like
Fully clothed.
turtleneck, like no skin was showing. So I'm still a little confused about that.
And we're going to take it a step further as a teacher, because I have some homegirls, and there was another young lady that was getting circulated in the media for this as a teacher. Parents upset saying she's not dressing like a teacher. She's not wearing teacher heels. She's dressing too young, which I don't understand what teacher heels are. Like, if you can take me to the store and show me a box that says teacher heels on them, then okay, we can go with it. But for you, like, do you feel like, because you're young, they can't see you, but you got body.
I know.
As a young, curvaceous teacher bae, like, have you ever ran into that? Like, have parents ever complained? Has administration ever said anything?
So by the grace of God, I haven't had anyone come to my face to say anything. But kids talk. I teach in high school, okay? So they'll let you know all the tea. And if you're the cool teacher, they'll definitely give you too much tea sometimes. But from my experience, I definitely remember, I guess I'll talk about when I first started. I was an interventionist, which is kind of like a tutor in the classroom.
Right.
And this program that I was working for, we had to wear a strict uniform of khaki pants, a white shirt, and a red jacket. I'm not going to say any names. That's all you need to know. So that's what we had to wear. Now, look, I'm curvy. Khakis make everything look like fuller, right? And I'm working with high school kids. So I already felt like I was at a disadvantage because, being curvy, you're always told like you can't wear the same things as everybody else and it looked the same. So I've already had those talks given to me from women in my family. So I'm not unaware that people will judge me based off of how I dress, but it became like exhausting. Like every day I was working with my students, I was pulling down my jacket because I was like, I don't want nobody to see my hips or my butt. I don't want them to think that I'm trying to like seduce anybody, like, because then you get hit with like these labels, and on top of just doing my regular job, I'm worried about how people are going to perceive me based off of the way my clothes fit my body. So that was very stressful, actually. And at that time, I think I had just graduated. So I'm really young. And I was like, I don't want nobody thinking that I'm trying to do anything inappropriate. I'm going to be the frumpy lady, right? Frumpy is the word we use. Yeah. Frumpy. And honestly, I carried that like fear for like the first 4 years of teaching, maybe even 5 years of teaching, where I was a frumpy dressing teacher. I went to the Old Navy section and got the largest thing that I could find. I wore the ugly dresses because I didn't want anyone to think anything. And interestingly enough, my homegirl, who's unapologetically herself, like shout out to my friend, one of the administrators walked up to me and said, I need you to talk to your friend. She's dressed inappropriately. Number one, why are you talking to me?
Facts.
Like, that, and as another woman, because it was a woman who brought it to my attention, I was like, you didn't feel the need to talk to her directly, and there must be some guilt or some doubt in your argument that you have to come to an outside source. Like, I'm not gonna filter this information for you. I don't have a problem with what she got on. You have a problem with what she got on. So she did not say anything to her because clearly she was unwarranted with her opinions. And my friend still dressed the way that she wanted to dress. She's young, she's hip.
Good for her.
I don't blame her. But I was frumpy. I denied myself. And that is horrible.
And it happens all the time. So for me, I could just remember as a therapist, it was always cautioned against dressing too, I guess, seductive, like you said, for lack of better words, because clients tend to have this savior's complex, where if you're working with them, you're helping them shape and mold their life, they feel like there's this unrealistic attraction anyway. And so if you dress the part, now they feel like, oh, she's dressing like this for me, and it adds a whole nother level. And so, anybody that knows me for real, baby got hips, baby got thighs, baby got ass. So it was very hard for me when I first came into my career. Same thing. I wasn't dressed frumpy, but I stuck to very casual type
traditional
right? I felt like you can't wear certain dress. I always have jacket or a cardigan. Right. Luckily for me, I don't wear heels like that anyway. I don't like it. So that was never a problem. But where I did show my expression was my hair. Anybody that knows me knows I've always had like fun colors, red, orange, blonde, like that was how I stood apart, and then that became a thing. My hair looked, I went natural with it. So now it's, oh, your hair isn't combed, but it is, or it's unkept. It's not. So now we have a problem with, the funky hair. And I remember when they said to me, because I'm kind of petty like this, well, we understand you have all these fun colors, but you need to do natural colors. So like if it can't grow that color out of someone's head, then you can't wear it. Bet. So blonde, that grows out of people's heads, right? Red, that grows out of people's head, right? So I kind of stayed within that medium, but it made me feel a type of way.
Yeah.
Because I felt like when, and not to point fingers, but I'm going to, other folks would come in there with like pink strips, blue strips, their highlights were like all these fun things, green for St. Patrick's Day, all kinds of other stuff. Nobody ever had anything to say about that.
They were expressing their creativity, Nay. They were being artistic.
And that is something that I kind of want to move the conversation into, is just like how corporate America and certain careers can really make someone feel small. Feel like, they can't be who they are, and they have to like be in this box. So let's talk a little bit about, because you have the natural hair and you are a teacher. So let's talk about work voice. So I remember growing up where people would be like, people talk white. And my mom was she was a stickler about pronunciation. You're not going to talk like you don't have no sense. You're going to use correct verbiage. You're going to, and I found myself trying to adopt another type of speaking because it was deemed as a bad thing because I knew how to talk. And so now I struggle with that because now I really don't know how to talk because I spent so many years trying not to know how to talk. But I see like at work, I could turn it on and off. You know, I'm just being funny, but I could turn it on and off. But that code switching thing, a lot of Black women feel that it's necessary. And I'm going to put myself in that box because I have deemed that as a necessary tool to thrive in corporate America. So for you, I feel like you talk like this all the time. I don't think there's a code switch, but how has that come across for you just in working and in your peers and your colleagues and things of that nature?
So it's funny you say, or you mentioned that I don't really have like a code switch. I've always been kind of square, but so honestly, it wasn't until I worked in like a predominantly Black school where I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to connect to my students because I was speaking at a level where I was like, I want to challenge you to be here, but I had to meet them where they were at, right? So they had to teach me the lingo. And I mean, now academically, they call it African American vernacular because now they want to study it. But you know, us as a culture, like essentially it's a form of being like bilingual, right? We have our own language. You have a cultural understanding. Like there's this, dang, I forgot if it was a meme or a post where one of the script writers, like he wrote shit, but he spelled it like with the accent or maybe he like used multiple E's in it. So when you say it, you're supposed to be like, shit, you know, like, you know how we talk. And so
yes,
he did a casting, and guess what? He had several people who were not a part of the culture who were like, is this a typo? And, you know, that's why representation is so important. And, you know, me being kind of square and being told that I talk white majority of my life, it helped me realize that it's not that I talked white. I spoke a version of English. I spoke what is it? It's girl, all these things have terminologies to them, but it's like the standard American English. And that's one form of English, right? So code switching is a gift. And I wish we would look at it with more of a positive mindset, because I'm sorry, I don't want everyone to know some of the terminologies that I use in my culture, like, because you can't use it. I don't want you to use it because it's taken out of context. And I feel the same way, like when I'm teaching my kids, like if they speak with words like finna, I'm gonna let you express yourself that way, but we're gonna transition. We're gonna put like in a translator and we're gonna write this to going to. And I think that's the beauty of like language, is that there shouldn't be a one size fits all approach to language. So code switching I think is necessary. I think it shouldn't be seen as a tool of survival. It should be seen as a tool of more like, I guess, endurance, or like you're able to recognize the time and a place to use certain language. Like I get real proper and sitting upright when I'm in a church house, right? But that's very different from when I'm at homecoming. So it's just, I think that shows like a level of intelligence as well, when you know it's a time and a place to use certain language. But I'm still finna talk how I talk. When I'm teaching, I'm an English teacher. When I teach, I still use certain language, and I need to be able to connect to my audience. You gotta know who your audience is.
Right.
Now, don't try too hard though, because then it's obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like code switching too, where you said it shouldn't be used as a tool of survival. For most people, it is though, and that's the part about it. And I think women more often than men. I feel like men can kind of move in, even Black men, just because men are seen as the superior species. They're able to fit into different groups of people and they can still, be themselves. They don't got to turn it on and off all the time. Whereas women were automatically seen as less than. And then, oh, you don't know how to speak well. Oh, and then you look like this. It's uncomfortable.
Okay.
It's uncomfortable. I have been in like meetings before, and now it's my turn to speak. And leading up to it being my turn to speak, I'm sitting and going over in my head who's sitting at this table.
Yeah.
How do I need to approach what we're about to talk about?
Yeah.
Is it okay to make a joke? Should I, and it's like, Susie Q not doing that. She's just, doing her thing, and it's acceptable.
And I'm going to tell you, like I said before, because we are the children of the civil rights baby boomers, right? So they were told, like, be peaceful, be respectful, know the room, scan the room, know a time and a place. So we've been taught and bred to believe that we have to be on our P's and Q's 24/7, right? Especially as like Black women, because, clearly we're the most disrespected. But we're expected to hold ourselves to higher expectations because we can handle it.
Right.
And code switching has become a means of survival, but it has a negative connotation. And I just don't want it to be like a deficit mindset. Like, you're not losing anything by code switching. If anything, they're the unlucky ones that don't know that there's a time and a place for certain behaviors. Because we all know there's that one person in the room when you're having a meeting who says the inappropriate thing or is offensive because they lack the intelligence to know that this is not the setting for that. So I feel like as women, we should feel more empowered that we are able to decipher the difference. And I totally agree with you about men. Like, they have like this unspoken like privilege to just do whatever they want. And we say, oh, they're just being a man.
Just being a man.
Yeah. Like, girl, okay, I'm not going to throw no names. But one of the people that I've worked with in my lifetime sent me like this nasty email. You know how people say like, per my last email? We all know what that means, right?
Right.
So this man sent me an email talking about, first of all, I'm sorry. I don't even think I saw the rest of the message, but I was like, number one, email etiquette. Okay. Email etiquette, number one. Number two, let's have some decorum. Like, this is not your personal email. This is a paid for email by the taxpayers, right? And you felt comfortable approaching me that way. And as a man, I have nothing against, equity, but I still have like traditional values. You're not going to talk to me like just any homeboy off the street. Like, I'm not a man. You're not going to come at me like that. And you need to respect me as a colleague. And like, I'm sorry, I had to write him off. I know you're not supposed to do that. And Lord, is working on my heart. But sir, we don't need to have a conversation ever again because you don't respect me. Like, who sends, first of all, what? Girl, I don't even know this man. I just work with him. What are you doing, sir?
Because I wouldn't even read the rest of the message. No.
I didn't respond. I'm good at ignoring. So I was like, I'm sorry. Whatever you needed, obviously, is not going to get done or taken care of because I had amnesia. I don't know. Delete. And then go to delete folder and delete it again. But I think that's something that we deal with as Black women as well. I mean, women as an umbrella, right? But if we're going to be 100 about this conversation, you have white women and then you have Black women.
Facts.
Like, there are some white women who would rather deal with Black men than Black women. Like,
facts.
I think that's crazy.
That is.
Like, okay, yeah, we have women's suffrage, but do we really want to dive into that conversation?
Facts. I've had that happen to me several times, actually. Because there is something different about the way a man in general is received. And if we being 100 about the conversation, there's levels to this thing, and people, and I'm just be real, you have Caucasian men here, You have Black men here, you have Caucasian women here, and then you have Black women here.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some Caucasian women feel like them and Black men are here, though. They understand that they're less than Caucasian men, but you're not better than me.
Oh, that's
And
where
so,
that Karen mindset comes from.
yes,
Like I'm allowed to say whatever I want because you're not better than me, which is probably why they attack us as Black females, because you're beneath me. Oh, you know what? I know this is off topic, but there's another, social media just gives you everything, right? There's another conversation that I'm pretty sure, pencil that in somewhere, that a woman compared her struggle as harder than Serena Williams because she was going up against white men in the director roles. And I'm like, first of all, are you comparing struggles? Like, why are we comparing struggles?
Why do we do that?
And
I never understand that.
But you know what? I think it's a lack of security in your abilities. So you find something that you know that other people respect and you try to knock it down to bring yourself up. So, I mean, there is no need for her to make a comparison at all. Like, as women, we should be uplifting each other, but sometimes it feels like we rip each other down. And, some of the comments that were going on about the young lady's attire, the coach's attire, like, I've seen a couple of the posts and some women were like going after her, like she should know better, that's not appropriate. And then I saw other women who were like, it's her body, she's not half naked, what's the issue? Like, if I'm overweight and I wear a shirt and it doesn't fit me the way that you want it to fit me, I'm still fully clothed. Like, you may not just like the way it's fitting me. And if I'm super skinny and the dress that I'm wearing doesn't give me any flattering look, are you going to be mad at me because I don't have any curves?
Right.
Like, so at the end of the day, you can't make anybody happy but yourself.
Facts.
So the fact that they took the time to criticize and ridicule someone because they couldn't wear it.
And that's really what it be. And I want to say right there, because you said something very, very, very important. When we look at how we are perceived as women, not only in the workplace, but just in life, you mentioned, how some other people feel like they can do and say that there's comfortability.
Mm-hmm.
It is the way that society has shaped the conversation. And I guess that is the whole point of this conversation today, is to figure out, how we can change that narrative. So just like you were saying with the coach, there were women who were saying positive things, and then there were women who were saying negative things. I want to take it back to the Sha'Carri situation, not even with the whole thing with the drug test, but just how when she first was like hitting the scene and everybody was popping her name, it was because of the nails and the hair and the jewelry, and it's like, oh, you want to track how you out here, da 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 da. And then there was this understanding of what was appropriate and what was not. Then you have in the workplace where people kind of move into a situation where they say different things, and it causes this narrative to come about that says that this is okay. We can tell Black women that they can't wear their natural hair because that's unprofessional. We can tell Black women that they're not supposed to speak in a way that they feel most comfortable because that's not professional. We could tell Black women they can't wear certain clothing because it's deemed seductive or unprofessional. And everybody's going to go along with it because we said so. And then there's other people within their community that is backing this.
I definitely think you have to accredit that to like the Jezebel complex. Like, all Black women are good for is like to be enticing and to be maternal. And if we stray away from those two images, it's like, well, she chose to do this. Like, we didn't over sexualize her. Like, she chose to dress like this. And don't get me wrong, like, everyone has their own views of like what's provocative and what's not, right? But at the end of the day, if it's not like causing harm to anyone, I'm not understanding why the narrative continues. Because at the end of the day, like we all know slave mentality has been passed on for generation after generation. And it's even got passed on to races and cultures that have nothing to do with American slavery. And they adopt like that mindset of, well, this is how they are. And for some reason, it's like us as a people, we just have a hard time breaking from that cycle, like breaking from that mindset. So we'll tear each other down. And it's like, for what? Like to continue the cycle of what we're comfortable with. Like you have to wear a turtleneck, but your turtleneck can't be too tight. You have to wear pants, but they can't be too tight. Like, what is too tight? Like, what? I have on clothes. Like, I have full clothes on, but it's the idea it's never good enough. And if we're not exploiting you and you choose to do these things, then that's definitely not okay, because now you're showing that you actually have freedom to do something. And I think that's what it's all about, is the false reality of if you have freedoms to do it or not. And I'm reclaiming my freedom as a Black woman.
Hello, I'm here for that. As a teacher, do you feel like you have been placed in a box at all? Like, do you feel that your administration has deemed you as, okay, she's a Black teacher, so she's supposed to relate to all the Black kids, or she's a Black teacher, so the expectation is X, Y, and Z, and then do your students then adopt that mindset as well?
You know, that's a sensitive topic for me. When I did teach at a predominantly white school, we had something called the BSU, or the Black Student Union. And yes, I can say that when I became the sponsor of that club, I was even told, are you sure you want to take this on? Because you're going to be the go-to for Black issues. And I was like, what does that mean? Oh my gosh, there were issues. The kids didn't feel like their voices were being heard. They felt like, there wasn't representation of the actual staff, and they were right. But it became like this burden. Like I had to be like bureaucratic about everything. Like I have this job and I have to follow the rules and policies and things that are in place. But some of these rules seem a little like whitewashed, or like not fair to all of the kids. So like, how can we incorporate like a more open mindset? And that was something that I struggled with for a very long time while I worked at that school, because they would come to me and seek like guidance, like how can I be Black in this space when I don't feel welcome in this space as a student? And like, what do you tell them? What do you tell them that the system is set up for Black professionals in education not to be in the classroom, where we don't see as many of us as we would like? How do you tell them that they have to learn how to code switch? Like, they're kids. Even though they're high school kids, they're still kids. So who's taught them that code switching is a necessity? And I know that goes back to what you were saying earlier about the survival mindset, but I didn't realize that I was in survival mode in that situation until like I left, because it was very like draining, because I would have to like smile in front of my students and let them know that I'm going to speak on their behalf, and then behind closed doors have conversations about, this is not right. This doesn't even look equitable. Like, as an adult, what are you doing to fix this? Because they're kids. The fact that they're picking up on this, that's a problem that you didn't see at first, So that was really tough for me. But then I also got hit with like a lot of discipline. Can you help with this? Or little Timmy, or what they say, little Taekwon, he's having issues. Why you can't call his parents? Well, you have such a good relationship with them, and they're in BSU. Can you call home? That no, you need to.
Hey, sister.
Oh, I see my sister. This is so cool. So yeah, like that was stressful. And then, girl, like once once the riots started happening, I got so many text messages and phone calls like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "You don't ask me this on a day-to-day basis, so please don't ask me now." It's exhausting. It's exhausting. But I had to put on face for my kids. Like, I had to show them that you can get through this, you can persevere, and it's gonna be difficult. It's not gonna be easy, but you gotta find your tribe.
Right.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
Okay.
You did put some, because that made me think about something different too. Like, just again, how you're being perceived and how you're being received in the workplace. Like, for you, it was your students. For me, it's other coworkers. You know, you've been that person, and you walk into a room, you at a new job or whatever, and you see that other Black person, and y'all automatically lock eyes, because it's like, all right, you don't even gotta say nothing, but you're looking for them when you come in, because as soon as something happens, there is the conversation starts.
Yeah.
And most times it's more comforting when it is another Black woman, because she understands my plight. She understands what I'm about to be dealing with in here. And then when something crazy happens and conversations are starting, now if you are the one that, and I'm just use your word for lack of the token, because there's always that one Black person at the job that kind of get in and fit in with everybody. That's me. My personality is just that.
You're a social butterfly.
Happens, they're coming to me asking me, how do you guys feel? Wait a minute, because I'm only one person. What do you mean, how do us guys feel? Or, well, what should we do to better for you guys? Why y'all lumping us all together, number one? Number two, how about you go and ask them individually what this looks like for them?
Or do your own research. How about that? How about you hold yourself accountable and do some digging? Because what I'm not gonna do is be your Black card, like, yes, I know somebody who gave me some advice, so this is what I'm gonna do. No, I don't know nothing. Nope. No, I don't know what book you can read. Nope. It's draining. Like,
they try and use us to keep us in that box. And kind of like you were saying, where they came to you to address your coworker about what? No, that's not my job. Like, can you go and ask, oh, I see that you talked to Daryl and Tasha. Can you go and ask them? No, I cannot.
And the boundaries, that's what I wanted to touch on. So I think I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, I feel like when you are an educated Black female, you have way more people cross boundaries in the workplace, because they're like, you get it, you're smart.
You get it, right.
Like, I don't mean it like this, but I know you'll filter it and make it sound good. And I'm like, if I didn't come off as an intelligent Black woman, would you still talk to me like that? Would you still ask me to do that favor of speaking to that person who you find intimidating? Like, would you still approach me the same way? And I think that's like a part of the exhaustion that I'm talking about as like being a professional Black woman, is that I had my nails really long. I don't really do that all the time, but my nails are like super long. I was stepping out the box.
Right.
And the first thing one of my administrators said was, "Oh, this is different for you. They're so long." And I was like, first of all, we don't talk. Second of all, I can't help that you don't get your nails done. And I told you, I show my self-care through my grooming. So that's important to me. But the moment I did something, like, you can clearly tell she's being condescending. And that's what I mean. However, when I saw my tribe, they were like, "Girl, you look so cute. I can tell you got your nails done." Like, you clearly know me. Like, there was a need for us to have that conversation, because you were doing it to uplift me, not to be like antagonizing to what I did. And it's just like, that's why you gotta find your tribe. Like, that is so important. Girl, hair. Remember I used to wear the knots in my hair, little Bantu knots? Girl, I had one kid, he thought it was funny, tell one of the counselors, "Oh, she wear the Kodaks." I said, "The what?" I said, "I wear the what?" "Yeah, she's wearing the Kodaks." To me, that was a peak of a moment.
I'm weak.
You're not gonna call them dreadlocks, you're gonna call them locks. You're not going to refer to my hair as dreads. You're going to refer to them as locks. Like, but that gets exhausting. Like, and why you feel the need to say Kodak? Because Rihanna had Bantu knots before.
Facts.
I was like, is it because I was dark skinned? Like, now I start thinking, you know what I mean? Like, I start thinking about all these things. And I'm like, the fact that child felt okay saying that to me, you crossed the boundary.
Right. I will never forget, and this is that representation that you talk about in Finding Your Tribe. Shout out to my coworker, Miss Robin. She is not a African American female, but she gets it. She understands that certain stuff you're just not supposed to do. You are supposed to be in a space where that respect level is there. Boundaries do not get crossed. And she just gets it, and to this day we don't work together anymore, but we are still very good friends. We talk all the time on the regular. I'm probably gonna do lunch with her next week. But anyway, there was another young lady that worked with us, and I was the only brown person that worked there at the time. And this lady came in my office because, again, I was the only brown person, so you know what we do, or it's a survival thing where I kind of stayed in my office by myself. My door was always closed, whether I had a client or not. I'm not going to lunch with y'all. I'm not talking to y'all for real. I'm just in here by myself. And most times my light was off and I had my little lamp on. This lady comes in my office, sits down in my chair. No, she didn't sit down in the chair. She opens my door because I had a client in there. I was mortified. She opens the door and she doesn't see the client because the chair is kind of pushed to the side. And she's like, I never know if you're in here or not because you always keep it so dark. And so I'm just kind of looking at her because I have a client. And so I'm just like, yes, do you need anything? She's like, no, I'm just trying to figure out why you sitting here being so incognito. Dawn? It took everything in me to remember that I was at work. Because, ma'am, I was mortified. And my client, because she was just sitting there for a moment, but when that comment came out of her mouth, she kind of stood up to make her presence known and was like, what did she just say?
Right.
When she saw that somebody else was in the window in the room, she was like, oh my God, she know my husband black. It went worse. It got worse.
Black card.
Exactly. It just got worse. She know I'm just playing. My husband's black. What your husband being black got to do with anything, number one. But girl, when I tell you, I politely had to. I was like, I'm with a client. We will deal with this later.
Yeah. And you handled yourself so well. And, you know, but that took a lot. That was exhausting, right?
And I'm just like, the comfortability though, like the fact that you have been in a situation with other black people, they have deemed that as appropriate.
Yeah.
So when we get a lot of this, nope, not lying. When we get a lot of this, it is because other people that look like us have said that this is okay.
Or they haven't corrected the behavior or held them accountable. Like, let's get to the root of it. Like, whatever setting that they're in, they're not telling that person like that's not okay. Right. Or you can't do that. And that's where I say, like, I'm not invested in that person enough to check them. And, you know, maybe I'm at fault for that, but whoever's in their circle of friends that they use that black card to say, like, I have a black friend, why are you not checking your friend? Why are you not telling them that's not okay? Like, I've had so many non-black women try to touch my hair, and, you know, my hair looks like yarn. I have locks. So they're like, does it feel like yarn? And I'm like, I don't know, but you won't reach over here. That's what you won't do. And, you know, I'm real quick about, like, my personal space. You made a joke about pre-COVID. Girl, I needed 6 feet a long time ago. And they feel the need to touch my hair because they think it's cute, or they think that it's okay to cross that boundary. Right. And it's like, you have to, it's going to sound terrible, but you have to treat them like children. Like, no, this is not okay. This is why it's not okay. So what you're going to do is stop. Right. And I think if you value that person's friendship, you're going to respect the fact that you're violating or you're crossing that boundary. And if they don't understand it, it's not meant for you to understand. I'm telling you, that's my boundary. It is that simple.
And something that you said is very, very important. As I was talking about earlier about being able to change that narrative, accountability, you said that several times. And then just being that person to stop shit before it goes too far. Because I can remember back, as I was later thinking about before we got to the incognito comment, there have been other things that had been said prior to that I should have checked her ass on. And I didn't. Like walking across the street one day, it's sprinkling lightly outside. I have my afro out and she's like, oh, you need my umbrella? Because I know Black women don't like to get their hair wet. And instead of saying, bitch, shut up, I was just like, well, my hair is out right now. Like, it's curly. It's in its natural state. Water is going to do wonders for it. You know, I just kind of killed it with kindness. But no, that is inappropriate. And it should have been said as such.
Right.
And in the conversation before, she was telling me about her Black husband. And she had said something, I think she was just testing the waters. And she had said something about the fact that he lets her say the N-word. But I know not to ever say that to anybody else. It's just between him and I because we're married. I feel like she wanted me to check her then too. And I didn't.
I don't know if she wanted you to check her. I think she was testing the waters to see if you would let her do it too. Like,
yeah.
I'm not okay with that. I'm sorry. And
when she said it, I made sure that she understood that. Yeah. Oh, he let me say, but I know not to say it in front of anybody else. And you better not.
Straight face.
Right, because I'm not even finna give you a chuckle or anything because no, ma'am.
Awkward silence. You right.
I'm going to check you for purposes of I got to represent for my people. You won't try it again. Facts, because that is where that piece comes from. Changing the narrative, we're the ones that have to do that.
I agree. Like, even, since I teach with my kids, like, I don't allow my kids to use the N-word in my class. Like, they're like, Miss, we're not saying it like that. I don't give a damn. Yeah. And sometimes I have to push it as far to say, like, I will write you up for, like, racial intimidation. Girl, I'll be using all sorts of words. You will not use that language in my classroom because this is not the time or the place for that. And I tell especially my Black students, like, it's not okay for you to allow people to say things that are not appropriate. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's just hard sometimes because when you show or you care so much about a topic, you come off as being like the irate Black woman, right? Mm-hmm. Or like kids will be kids, so let them do that.
One of those boxes they try and put us in.
Right, or like the angry Black lady, right? And it's like, no, I'm not angry. It's just like these are my boundaries and you only understand when I get crunk. So maybe if you would respect me like Susie Q, the first time I said it, we'll be fine. Right. But I mean, I think that's the plight of a Black woman is that we're held to a higher standard and we try so hard. Well, most of us, because look, there's some bad apples out there. Nice. In every race, every culture, every group, all of us not amazing, right? But those of us who rise to the challenge, we're making up for those 2 or 3 who they just don't give a fuck. Like, thanks. And can you blame them?
And that is where that conversation kind of goes. The people that aren't, can you blame them? This has been the narrative for so long. You have those people who want to change it and want to step up to the plate and be the example and be that representation. But then there's a bulk of them that's like, here's where we're at. This is where we're going to stay at. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get in where I fit in. Mm-hmm. And that's a sad reality. That is a sad reality.
Oh, I'm gonna leave on a positive note.
Right, and we are because we are because I want to just take this time and say, Black Girl Magic. I titled tonight's conversation Teacher Bay because I got Teacher Bay right here, but it's a representation of Black Girl Magic. I think that even with all the struggles that we have and the different adversities that we face within corporate America and in our careers, like, we persevere. Like, our culture, number one, And then as a woman of our culture, it's just a whole different battle. And I think that there are some amazing Black women that are shining right now and setting the example and being that representation that we can all kind of just fall in line and be like, this is, like you said earlier, being a part of HBCU, I belong. This is what the people around me are doing this, and I belong here too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so just I want to end this episode just celebrating all that is Black women. Like, we are out here killing it, and I want to big ups to every Black woman that I know, that's out here doing the damn thing. I see y'all. The next couple of weeks, I'm going to be highlighting and spotlighting a lot of you guys for different things that you have going on, and just, we need to be celebrated. And I feel like that comes from us celebrating ourselves first. We have to change the narrative.
Amen.
You know?
Amen. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to all the ladies in the comments, keeping it real, commenting. I see y'all. Hey Bria, hey Nicole. I saw Chandra in here a little earlier. All professional Black women that's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Surround yourself with people that are like-minded and making waves, for sure.
Amen.
Yes, I like it. Any last words? Anything you want to put on that before we get up out of here?
I just want to say thank you for having this talk, because I keep all my emotions bottled in and then I explode at some point. So thank you for creating this platform for us to have this conversation. Those who are able to watch, encourage another woman, encourage another Black woman. And there's nothing wrong with encouraging Black women for being amazing. Like, let us know that sometimes. Like, I don't want to always pick my head up. I may need you to come lift me up. And don't make me feel bad because I need that reassurance either. Like, we have to look out for each other. And those that don't want to, you can get off the train. You don't have to keep going.
What's that? One monkey don't stop, no show.
Well, that's kind of like negative. Can we talk about monkeys? But I got you.
I'm just saying.
I know. But it's like, who are you? Like, this stage is big enough for all of us. And if you don't want to shine with us, then you can get off the stage. I won't kick you off, but we'll just, we'll follow you on out of here.
Right.
And, exactly. What was it? The broom?
Man.
Yeah. But yeah, just, I'm in a place of positivity right now. And, that was really rough for me. I was going through a patch where I didn't have my tribe. There's not that many Black educators. And those of us who are around, we kind of fall into these two categories, like the outspoken ones or the ones who like stay under the radar. Yep. And I could not see myself staying under the radar. And I wish I would have found my tribe earlier so I wouldn't have experienced burnout. Yeah. But find your tribe. That's Black Girl Magic, but find your tribe. Because not all skin folk ain't kin folk. So allies, anybody who's supporting you and they see you as a Black woman, because I don't see color is not acceptable. Find your tribe.
I hate that. Because you see these colors and you should.
I mean, when you see a painting, you see colors.
You need to see this vibrant brown skin. What you mean you don't see it?
You don't see my color, you don't see me. Okay. So, I mean, just find your tribe, encourage, uplift, and if they're not with it, leave them behind. They'll either get with it or they'll just stay behind.
I ain't talking fast. You just listen slow. Perfect.
I love you.
I love you. This was good. This was really, really good. Thank you for coming on and having this conversation. It's a tough one, and I really was a little worried about how to bring it about and kind of address these different things, but I think we did it very tastefully. And it's a conversation that needs to continue to happen. Someone said in the comments, it is Women's Month, so I'm going to encourage you guys to reach out congratulate, celebrate, encourage, and love on a woman. March is almost done. You still got time. I'm definitely going to be doing so. And take it easy. Love on you, even if nobody else does. You're amazing if nobody else tells you. Thank you guys for all of your support. Go ahead and head to Barnes and Nobles and get my book if you haven't already. Don, I still got your book.
Look, I wasn't gonna put you on blast on your show, but
Still got your book.
I'm waiting.
I love you so much, sis. Thank you for this conversation again. And yeah, right back here next week, another conversation at Soul by Native Podcast. Let's talk about it.
Bye.